Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our council meeting, the day after the big storm in the city of Mount Pearl. So welcome, folks, January 24th, 2023, our second meeting of business here at the city of Mount Pearl. And I notice all of you have been really, really busy the last few weeks, and certainly really busy this past weekend with all the weather we had. So, council, you see before you the agenda. I'm going to ask for a motion, please, and that is moved by the deputy mayor and seconded by Councillor Fry. That we approve the agenda, noting there is nothing outside the kit. So all in favor and those opposed, that motion's carried. Thank you so much. Now we start the next part of our business with the lands acknowledgement. Just bear with me, please. We begin today's public council meeting by respectfully acknowledging the province of Newfoundland and Labrador as the ancestral homelands of many diverse populations of Indigenous peoples, including the Beothuk, who have contributed to 9,000 years of history on the island of Newfoundland. Today, this province is home to diverse populations of Indigenous and other people. We acknowledge with respect the diverse histories and cultures of the Mi'kmaq, Innu, and Inuit. We honor this beautiful land together as we strive for collective healing and true reconciliation. On the agenda, folks, public council meeting January 10th, 2023. Council looking for errors or omissions, please, before we talk about any business arising. Hearing none. Well done on the minutes, as always. And I will then ask for a motion. Councillor Lane, second by Councillor Rice, all in favor of the minutes. And contraminded and carried. Thank you so much. Business arising, please quote the item number. Yep, go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Wondering if we can get clarification for number 19 regarding the Christmas lights. Just with regards to in relation to the Frosty Festival and what the plans are there.
I think that's going to come from Recreation Public Safety. Director Collins, please.
Right.
Thank you, Your Worship. The lights will be kept on until after the Frosty Festival. However, all the Christmas decorations, the sleigh, all that stuff has been taken out of St. David's, but the lights will remain till after Frosty Festival.
Great. It's going to make for a nice bright festival for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, folks? Moving right along, the Recreation and Community Safety Committee report. Councillor Antle, please.
Worship, I'll take the first three and then I'll pass on to my colleague, Councillor Lane. Number one for us is for the Association for the Arts in Mount Pearl. It's a memorandum of understanding. This is something we do every year. And this goes from January 1st till December 31st, 2025. The committee recommends approval to execute an MOU between the city and the Association for the Arts in the city of Mount Pearl for the period of January 1st, 2023 till December 31st, 2025, which includes the provision of the annual operating subsidy in the amount of $10,000. And I so move. This is something we do every year.
Moved by Councillor Antle, and thank you. Seconded by Councillor Lane. Any discussion, folks? This is a fine investment in the culture of our community. I'll call the question. All in favor? And those opposed? And that motion is carried. Thank you.
And number two, regarding the Admiralty House Communications Museum, and this is the first installment of their operating subsidy for 2023. And again, this is something we do every year. The committee recommends approval to release the first installment of the Admiralty House Communications Museum's operating subsidy in the amount of $57,500 as per the memorandum of understanding between the city and the museum. And this is money well spent. And I think, our residents take a value of this. And I so move.
Again, moved by Councillor Antle and seconded by Councillor Lane. Further thoughts, questions? All in favor? And those opposed? And that's carried as well.
And number three, and this has to do with the Frosty Festival, and it's just around the corner. This is the first installment of the operating subsidy for 2023. And the committee recommends approval to release the first installment of the Frosty Festival's operating subsidy in the amount of $35,000 as per the memorandum of understanding between the city and Frosty. And again, money well spent and something we do every year. And I so move.
Moved by Councillor Antle again, and seconded by Councillor Lane. Any thoughts, questions? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? And those opposed? And that's carried as well. Back to you, or over to you, Councillor Lane. Thank you, Councillor Antle.
Thank you very much. And the fourth thing on our agenda here this evening is the Swim for Hope 2023. So for the information of the public, the Swim for Hope relay is scheduled for Friday, February 3rd. There will be no cancellation to aquatic programming or swimming lessons during this.
That's a great event and it goes to a great cause.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And the final thing here on our agenda this evening is the Artistic Swimming Winterfest and Summit Center pool cancellations. So the Mount Pearl Artistic Swimming, formerly known as Synchro, will be hosting the Winterfest on February 11th and the 12th at the Summit Center with expected 100 to 120 competitors. The schedule on both days of the Winterfest, Saturday, February 11th is 1 to 6 p.m. and Sunday, February 12th is 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. It will involve cancellations of city programming, swimming lessons, and recreation swims as follows. The recreation swim cancellation will include Saturday's Century Swim from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. and the public swim from 5 to 5:50 p.m. And on Sunday, the lane swim from 7 to 8:20 a.m. and the family swim from 10:45 to 11:30 a.m. There will be no swimming lessons with the exception of the National Lifeguard course. These cancellations will be posted on the city's website and at the facility, as well as shared on social media. And that's it for our report this evening.
Thank you to you both and to the committee very much. Moving on to Planning, Engineering, Development. Councillor Rice, please.
Thank you, Worship. We have 4 items on our agenda this evening, brought forward from our last council, our PEW meeting. The first one we have is our number 1 is 10 Avery Place briefing session regarding the planning unit development. So the background, this one, the city is in receipt of an application by RJC Services on behalf of Placentia Bay Holdings for residential intensification project at 10 Avery Place. This proposal is for 3 buildings, housing projects with a total of 13 units, 2 buildings with 11 3-story row houses and a basement parking at ground level, and a 3rd building with a common office space on the main level and 2 units on the 2nd and 3rd floor respectively. The proposal also includes 6 parking spaces for the 3rd building, a private gardens at the rear of 2 buildings on the southern and western ends of the parcel land, and 7.32 meter wide road between the 3 buildings. So recommendation from Planning, Engineering, Development Committee has reviewed the application submitted by RJC Services on behalf of Central Bay Holdings for a residential intensification project at 10 Avery Place, and recommends proceeding with the development permit subject to the meeting of all conditions of section 4-21-3 planned unit. Development of the city's development regulations, as well as all conditions and regulatory requirements, is outlined in a referral process and planning review. I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Rice and seconded by Councillor Fry. Comments coming from Councillor Locke first.
Thank you, Your Worship. I do support this motion brought forth by Councillor Rice and their committee. We did hold a public briefing session for this, Mayor, and it was great to see you had quite a few residents come out to this, and we had great feedback from the developer there. And it's mentioned, as Councillor Rice mentioned, this is intensification, and I support this because going forward, as we know, we have 16 square kilometers of land here and limited land left in the Northlands for further residential development. And as we know, we're into our strategic planning sessions here and planning a course of action going forward. Such intensification is necessary. It's going to be needed for the city to grow and prosper. Given the limited land we have, we're looking at alternatives here. So this is the type of project that I feel the city needs moving forward. The proponent committed that they would maintain this as a 55 plus apartment units, the 13 units here, which was welcome news to the residents down in Avery Place. That was a key concern that they brought forth. And of course, we all know the need for seniors housing in the city of Mount Pearl. We could probably use another 500 of these units here. So again, I think it's a great move. The fact that we're intensifying this area, it's going to be a great completion to that little neighborhood down there. The residents love Avery Place and their access to our T-Railway. So this will be a nice finish to the to the whole development down there. So I fully support this. Thank you, Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Kiley is next, and I think I see Councillor Lane and then Councillor Antle.
Thank you, Your Worship. And to add to Councillor Locke's support and overall benefits that were highlighted from this project, I did want to say again a significant thanks to the incredibly engaged community of folks living on Avery Place. It was obviously clear that they gave a lot of care and attention to this project, and along with the developer who were able to offer very clear answers and deliberate and really give people a really good picture of the benefit this. I just wanted to also focus on what I found quite exciting about this, which is the developer looking at certainly as not only as a place for seniors, but the design itself as a universal design. I think that is something that whether, certainly for those that are aging and individuals that are going to go through different types of abilities throughout their life, depending on environmental or physical circumstance, that a universal divide truly means it's inclusive. And that was one of the things that it was great to know that these new intensified areas will also be understanding all sorts of ways in which they can be inclusive for different abilities and to be more of an inclusive lens. So yeah, that was quite exciting. And I think that is something that more and more we hope to see in developments is the concept of no matter what your ability is and how old you are, that the building itself is more inclusively designed in a way that's, well, it speaks for itself, universal. So just wanted to make that point as well, and my support for that.
Thank you very much. Councillor Lane.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just too wanted to state my support of this project. I'm very excited to see this happening here in Mount Pearl. Of course, everyone knows that we are limited on our space for development here in the city. And I just think it's so great that we're seeing intensification like this happening. I think we're moving in the right direction. And I certainly hope to see more projects such as this coming in the future. And the fact that it's going to be 55 plus, I think that's excellent, because I know for one, when I was going door to door, that was something that I've heard numerous times was the need for seniors housing. So I'm very happy that the developer is taking this approach. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Antle.
Yeah, just a couple of quick comments, Your Worship. We all attended the public hearing, and first off, I like the planning department did such a good job on that planning meeting. It was a well-run meeting. Everybody had lots of time to discuss. Also, as we already alluded to, is the residents in Avery Place. I mean, it's a great association down there. And, the president of that association knocked on every door and made sure that everybody showed up and they all voiced their concerns, which is great to see. And they all, they're interested in their development. But one thing, as Councillor Locke was talking about, one thing that was talked about was the trees on the trail. They're right back down the trail. And they're not cutting down the trail. So, and not cutting down the tree on that trail. So that's good news that, anybody's wandering on Avery Place or in that area, those trees will stay the same and it's going to go well. And I think everything for that development is going to bode well for the residents. And as we all said, the more development such as that one, more so. I think the planning department got to get out there and bring us more and more and more. And that's everything for me, Your Worship. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Anybody else would like to chat? So I'm going to get Councillor Rice, who brought in the motion, to sum it up, and then we're going to call the vote.
Yes, so just to make a quick comment on that as well. So, I certainly support what all my council colleagues are saying, because, moving forward, developments, tax base and even development that, that would, there's such a great design for that area. And we had a great discussion that night, and it was very positive. I think from all sides, it was a really positive meeting. They were a bit skeptical in the start, but I mean, once the contractor really committed to it, and he did say he gave a verbal commitment, but he said he'd sign a commitment if you needed to sign one. And I think we need more developments like this in Mount Pearl, and moving forward with the tax base for a city and the residents, and great place for, 55 plus to live. So it's very important. So that's it for us. For me, for my part, I'm going to pass the next part over to my colleague.
Yeah, I'll call the motion. All in favor?
Sorry.
And
Aye.
those opposed, and that motion is carried. Back to you, sir.
Thank you, Worship. Pass the next part of our PEW committee over to Councillor Fry. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rice. Next on our agenda is the building and occupancy permit listing for the period of January the 3rd to the 13th. So the Planning and Engineering and Development Committee recommends that the building permits issued for this period showing a total construction value of $546,000 be approved. And further, that the occupancy permit list be accepted as presented. And you can see that these are here in your kit. Again, it's usual. Even though it's January, there's a single dwelling and exterior renovations and a few other things here. If there are any questions, I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Fry. Thank you. And seconded by Councillor Rice. I'll call the question. All in favor? Those are opposed? Nobody. Motion carried. Thank you.
Okay, next we have our development permit listing for the same period, January 3rd to the 13th. So the Planning, Engineering and Development Committee provides the following development permits for the information of council. In this case, there is one. It's the date of issue is January 3rd, and it's for River Rascals for an open air assembly use. And I so move.
Moved again by Councillor Fry. Thank you, Councillor Rice. All in favor? And contraminded? Carried.
And finally, for us, Your Worship, we have our capital projects update. So the only thing we have today is that the tender documents are currently being prepared for the upcoming 2023 construction season, which is going to be a very busy one. And that's it for our committee this evening, Your Worship.
Thank you so much. Corporate Services and Public Works. We're going to start with Deputy Mayor Kiley tonight.
Committee recommends the following invoices totaling $521,206.01 approved payment. So with regards to the in your kit, you can see the details of the invoices for council, and as it is line here with numbers as well as the fee that the description what that is. So if anyone has a question with regards to that, and then we're going to seek more clarity or present it if you wish.
You're putting a motion on the floor for the invoices. Yes, Deputy Mayor, moved by the Deputy Mayor, and of course, seconded by Councillor Locke. Thank you. Any questions? Hearing none. I'll call the question. All in favor? And those opposed? And invoices totaling $521,000 approximately have been approved.
So some notes, notable items paid by the city is 8 invoices totaling for $27,406.22 to Philadelphia and Sanatorium for lumber cleaning services, and also 2 invoices totaling $30,396 to be reported. So that's just the information. And along what's in the kit is some information with regards to vendor minutes, as you can see there, compiled as schools. If you have a question or any further clear on these items, certainly the information.
Any questions, Council? I have one. I think it's for Director Dallemont. Cabot Ford Sales. We finally have gotten some of our vehicle fleet being replenished. Is that that's an assumption I'm making? That's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, I'd say by looking at the quoted price on the invoice there for Cabot Ford Sales, that would be in relation to our new MEO vehicle.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So asking a further director, when do we expect the new municipal enforcement vehicle to be in service?
I believe right now we're waiting on some parts for some of the accessories with it
Mhm.
in regards to the enforcement. So we're working with Action. So once that arrives, I'm anticipating next week or two.
So in line with one of the themes in budget 2022 as well as budget 23, this it's very difficult with supply lines, what they are, to get a vehicle source, but nice to see it happening. Thank you very much, everybody. And I'll turn it back to you.
Well, actually, that leaves me at the end for my portion of the Corporate Services and Public Works Committee, and I pass it along to my colleague, Councillor Locke, to take the last two items.
All yours, Councillor Locke. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. The next item for us, Your Worship, has to do with our facade improvement grant program recommendation. The city is in receipt of an application for this particular program. And just a reminder that applicants who meet the criteria can receive up to 50% of total project costs to a maximum of $10,000. In this particular circumstance, the city has received an application from Ever After Bridal Boutique located at 974 Topsail Road. And this building is in need of restoration as the exterior of the building hasn't been renovated in some 25 years. And the owners purchased the building in 2016. They've done some minor upgrades with the interior. So now they're looking at renovating and improving the exterior, including siding trim, lighting, including some new pot lights, new signage, new architectural design. So it's certainly going to improve the aesthetics of the building up here. The business has been operating, Mayor, for the past 7 years and continues to demonstrate its economic viability and the benefits to the community. I know all the high school graduates like their dresses and tuxes and stuff like that. So they do a good business up there. Based on the input from the evaluation committee, again, this is under our facade improvement grant program. The Corporate Services and Economic Development Committee supports the recommendation to approve a grant in the amount of $8,200 to the property owners, again at 974 Topsail Road, and I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Locke and seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Thank you. Questions, Council? Councillor Randall, please.
Just a quick note on that. You know, I was on this committee a little while ago, and this facade improvement program is one of the better programs we have here in the city. I mean, our economic development team is so strong as it is, but I know some of the businesses that we already supported that. And when you drive by, you can take a look at their building and you can tell that it looks sharp. And you know, this $8,000 is certainly going to add value to that, and it's going to dress up Topsail Road. And the more times that we can get our economic development team to go talk to businesses and upgrade the premises, it makes Mount Pearl more accessible, more attainable, more rentable for other businesses within the city. And this is a small way that we can support our business community. So I certainly support this facade improvement program. I think it's a good spend. And thank you very much.
Anybody else? I'll call the question. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. The last item for us is the Public Works Status Report. We reviewed the committee, the various activities ongoing with Public Works. Individual prepaid bulk garbage collections are ongoing for 2023. I know Councillor Randall asked about this at our last meeting, I think. Our winter equipment maintenance and new equipment preparation work is ongoing. Repair and preventative maintenance work is underway on a bridge along the T Railway, and this is to improve culvert and water flow, as well as the bridge railing to improve safety and its appearance. Phase 2 of the urban forestry plan has been all set up and has gone to tender. Draft tenders for new equipment being reviewed and finalized in preparation to release soon. And that includes 1 loader, 2 lawnmowers, 1 farm tractor, and 8 pickups. The Deputy Mayor asked earlier about the outdoor Christmas lights and decorations. So Director Collins already spoke to that and the intention for keeping these lights on until the Frosty Festival. Road maintenance is ongoing with manhole repairs, asphalt potholes. And there's a chart there you can see in your kit there, Council, that has to do with the water levels at Babel's Big Pond with comparison between the years 2009, 2021, 2022, and the first part of 2023. So you can see the water levels there. And Your Worship, if I could, at this time, we know that we had quite a significant snowfall episode over the weekend. And Councillor Rice was saying he thinks in some areas we got a little more than the quoted 55 centimeters. And I wouldn't doubt that given the different microclimates we have throughout the city. So just to put it in context, we received about 2/3 of the same amount of snow that we received during the Snowmageddon that people like to call it. And this snow, I think, I know during I could hear it shifting from rain. It got a little milder and then it got cold again. So we all know how sticky and heavy the snow was afterwards. So it was a significant amount of snow to deal with. And I got to say, our staff answered the call as they typically do. I received nothing but positives about the efforts and the pushback on our snow and how quickly it was done. Some even chuckled and they said they were frustrated because the plows are coming around too often. They get their driveway cleared and then the plow would come in and fill them back in again. So it was great work. I know some people reached out about sidewalks may not have been cleared as rapidly, but people have to understand that we do have a protocol in place in the city, that we do certain streets first and the mains and then the secondary streets and the sidewalks, and we put emphasis on the school zones. And so our staff are well trained and very good at doing this. So we just ask for patience, and we can't start everyone's street at the same time. So someone's got to be the first street and someone's got to be the middle street and someone has to be the last street. So but the snow tracker, that little website is great that people can get onto, and if they want to see if there's a plow in the area. And also a reminder, I know people were anxious to get their driveways cleared, and we run into this after every significant snow episode. People like to blow their driveways and then put their car out on the street, but that will prevent the plows from getting down. If you're blocking the roads and the plows can't get down, sometimes they'll blow the horn. Other times they may look down, and if they can't get down, they'll go on and continue their route. So they may bypass your road, and then people get frustrated that the plow wasn't down there, but it's due to the fact that some of the neighbors or perhaps themselves had put up obstacles for the cars. So we ask people, to keep their cars off the roads, like 12 hours after the snowfall, and let our operators do the great work that they're so used to doing. Also, we had one of the responses or calls I had to do with the groomed trailway, the T-Railway. We had it groomed, and some people expressed concern that maybe we should have cleared the sidewalks or other roads before grooming the trails. But as I explained to this resident, it's not an either or. We didn't do grooming the trail and not do some sidewalks. We only have so much equipment. We have staff assigned to those pieces of equipment. All the plows and the sidewalk plows and snow blowers were out and about. This is a separate service, the trail grooming. So we didn't groom the trail at the expense of other areas of the city sidewalks or roads not being done. It's just another level of service that the city provides here. And on my walk this morning, I met a couple of residents that were quite pleased with the fact that the city had indeed groomed that part of the trail and had our St. David's Park opened and salted. So people that wanted to walk, around St. David's, that was also done. So if I could just highlight some of the points here, Your Worship, the blowback continues. We do have our blowers out now and push back along the sidewalks. Our main drags, Topsail Road, Commonwealth Avenue, Park Avenue, for example, and the secondary streets, the blowback started today. The blowback in the schools where it was completed by Monday morning. So, the intention is to make sure that the schools are accessible. And some of the sidewalks, again, I had one resident reach out and express concern about the sidewalks in some of the school zones. But what happens many times is residents, when they're clearing their own driveways, they put snow and they block the sidewalk. So our plows have gone down, but then we get blocked back in there as well. So we do put attention to, so all those school zones were pushed back by Monday morning. Our sidewalk cleaning and grooming is ongoing. Snow removal from our cul-de-sacs, and different cul-de-sacs are different sizes. So if our staff assesses that the cul-de-sac, the snow in the cul-de-sac will allow emergency vehicles or garbage trucks to get around, well, that may not have top priority, but some of our cul-de-sacs are a little smaller, so they may take priority for ambulance, emergency response vehicles, and our garbage trucks. As I said, the T-Rail was groomed. St. David's Park is open. Our island and pedestrian buttons are clean. The cleanup is ongoing. We make strides to do this. Again, we have a protocol. We, tick box that once we get through complete the different tasks, we move on to the next one. So that includes clearing of our fire hydrants and the pedestrian push buttons and the like. Our catch basins, the cleaning has been ongoing. And I know I spoke to another resident who was proud to say that he had opened up the drain on his road. He always takes pride in doing that to help along, given that the heavy rain and the mild temperatures that we are currently experiencing. And as I said, the last one for us is the hydrant snow removal is ongoing. So it was a huge snowfall, like I said, 2/3 of what we got with Snowmageddon. And I think people were really surprised by the amount of snow that did fall.
Hmm.
So I thought we handled it quite well here, and I thought I got far more compliments for our snow clearing with respect to some of the concerns that I had expressed. But I just want to tip my hat to Director and his team there for the job well done. Thank you, Mayor.
All good points. Thank you for the summary. We're only a day and a half, I think 36 hours since the snow ended. Director, in your time in your roles with Public Works, this must be the worst snowstorm that you've ever experienced. Or if not, it's up there. Could you also comment on that, but also comment on how that sticky snow seemed to stick Friday into Friday night? It just wouldn't go away. And despite the weight the blades have from our heavy loaders and our trucks, it was a difficult scrape that continued right into last evening. Any commentary from you would be welcome.
Yeah, sure. So again, as noted, to put this in perspective, the average 55 centimeters in the Mount Pearl area. We haven't seen such a snow event since Snowmageddon about 3 years ago. So as my time as director, yes, this would be the biggest snow event that we have to date. But of course, every snow event is different. Given how heavy and wet the snow was in this particular event, when it gets on the asphalt, if there's any amount of vehicle traffic that travels over the snow before we have a chance to scrape it off, it sticks very to the asphalt, and it's near impossible to get off. So as part of that, what we had literally had our some of our loaders out again last night, scraping off existing routes that are already plowed to try to scrape some of this slush and ice and buildup off the streets. So just to add to the whole storm and everything, this started, of course, Friday evening, and it literally continued right on till Sunday morning. With, as someone noted, at times, it was cold and wet and rain, then it froze, a typical northeast Avalon snow event. But during the whole time, with, just to add to it, that we had a full complement of our own city staff doing the work. At all times, we had 14 loaders up, 4, if not 5 flyers up, and that was 24/7 around the clock from Friday night onward. It was a great response from our staff, to the overtime call. It shows, I guess, on where we're to today, given that literally it's only day 2 after the snow event, and we're well ahead of the game. To make all that happen is a team event from everybody, from managers, supervisors, equipment operators, laborers, and mechanical staff, because that all is going 24/7 to make all this happen. And during the whole event, yes, we did receive some criticism every now and again, but it's all good. That's all part of it. But on top of that, as noted, we did receive a lot of positive feedback as well. And part of that goes to, good planning from the city and good budgeting over the years. Our equipment is where it needs to be, and it takes a team effort to make this happen for such a snow event, to have it cleaned up on where we're to now. And, it's a lot of work to make that happen, but we do it, and we do it well.
Thank you very much. Any other comments, folks? Thank you very much. It's been a long weekend, and we're off to a good start this week, and the city slowly but surely being cleaned up. Time for the round table. Councillor Angel, please.
Your worship, I just got one thing, and it has to do with snow clearing. And I did get a couple of calls over the weekend, and most of them had to do with snow scoops and pickup trucks throwing snow on the road. And even though it's a municipal bylaw and you're not allowed to do that, people still continue to do that. But sometimes if you just will be a little bit more respectful when you're plowing your driveway with those snow scoops, don't pop it in front of your neighbor's driveway, because those neighbors are going to get the snow. And, snowplow operators, I talked to Director Collins and Superintendent Tilly. These plow trucks with the blades on front is against the law to plow snow on our roads. And you're going to get a ticket, and we're paying attention to it right now. Don't plow on the roads. It inhibits traffic. And as Councillor Locke just said earlier on, ambulances and fire trucks have to get by. And if you're plowing snow on the road, we can't get by.
So shouldn't we ban these pickup trucks
Sometimes I think
from plowing with blades? Because unless you can do lift in place,
Yeah.
which is really what's preferred, especially after any snowfall.
Yeah.
My suggestion, because we talk about it a lot, especially also in a Canada Post context, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But why don't you take that back to committee? On behalf of council and our residents, I think it's the appropriate committee to be Recreation and Public Safety to look at that. I know there's other jurisdictions will not allow those blades throughout the city. And frankly, if you look at what the city does, ultimately, we do end up blowing the snow back on people's lawns. So ultimately, the city, in widening the streets, do create a safe passageway for our vehicles. But I do wonder about the mess.
Yes.
And are we going to solve this long time problem?
It seems to be, one of those issues. I got a couple of calls, people out plowing. And I think we all hear that these pickup
Yeah.
trucks plowing snow and putting on the road or tearing up neighbors' lawns with their snow, with the blades. I see some people have, nice trucks and they have a blower on the front. But if it's going to inhibit traffic and it's going to cause a hindrance, I think it's a good idea. Let's bring it back to committee and see what other municipalities are doing. The fines had to be stiff enough that they don't do it anymore. It's all right when you have a business and you got a place to store that snow. But that's everything for me, and I'll bring it back to our committee and somebody else.
Appreciate that. When you make it part of our regulations, how do I say this? You up the ante.
Yeah.
It's not just a traffic violation. It's now a breach of our regulations. And typically the penalties are a little bit more severe. And I think that's part of your plea. Councillor Rice, please. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, agree 100%, Councillor Antle. Same thing. I concur with what you say, because we've had it over on my street as well. And we had a few of the residents had a running with a few people on the trucks, and a few words were exchanged, but we got to have further conversation on that matter. Two small items for me. Speaking about the snowstorm, and I agree with everything that Councillor Locke has said there. We had a lot of snow, and we had a big dump in a 24 to 36-hour period. But just to be mindful about people or neighbors next door, seniors especially, who might need help to shovel out and stuff like that. Somebody might be, especially basement apartments, might get trapped in there and can't get out. So just have an eye to your neighbor. And the second item for me is the Frosty Festival, February the 8th to the 14th. Still looking for volunteers, and with over 60 events. I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to be a great week for festivities, and hopefully a few birthdays to celebrate along the way. So that's it for me, Your Worship. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Rice. Over to you, Councillor Lane.
Thank you very much. Just one thing for me. So I just want to take a minute to talk about Mount Pearl's Jenny Mallard. So I actually went to school with Jenny, and not only is she a fantastic person, but she has a fantastic voice. She is truly a musical artist, and she has been selected to partake in the Music NL Audio Production Mentorship Program, where she will be mentored by the Juno Award-winning producer and songwriter Denise Dion. So that is truly a great accomplishment from Jenny. So congratulations to her. And I know I'm certainly looking forward to hearing more of her music in the future and seeing where she goes.
Thank you very much. Over to you, Councillor Fry.
Thank you, Your Worship. First of all, I want to say thank you to our Public Works crews for all the work you guys did over the weekend. I did have a couple of people reach out with a couple of concerns, and I brought them forward and they were addressed immediately. So that says a lot, and I thank you for that. Great job. The only thing for me today, Your Worship, is I just want to acknowledge a group of young future politicians that we had here to visit our chambers a few days ago. We had about 20 sparks come to visit, and I think 19 of them want to be politicians at some point. think 18 of them want to be mayor.
Absolutely. And they were wonderful, weren't they?
They were great. And I mean, their enthusiasm, they loved the microphones, especially. But all jokes aside, I think it's fabulous for the leaders to bring them here and show them what it is we do and get them interested at a young age. And they asked a lot of questions and every one of them was answered. So it was a pleasure having them here. So I just want to thank them for coming in. And that's it for me this evening, Your Worship.
Thank you much. Councillor Locke, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Several of mine have already been covered, but I just want to express excitement about the Frosty Festival that's upcoming, and many people in the city are looking forward to the events. It's going to be fun-filled, but just a reminder that they are still in need of some volunteers. So if you got some time and you think you can help out, I'm sure the Frosty Committee won't turn anybody away. So that's it for me, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you much. Over to you, Deputy Mayor Kiley.
Thanks, Your Worship. And as all of my colleagues have expressed, so my gratitude to Public Works and the incredible team that got us through our first big snowfall event. And I think it just demonstrates the amount of coordination, communication, and action that's being done through the city and our entire team. So well done. Wanted to remind folks, and you probably may have seen it already in your mail, but you should be receiving a tax bill this week with a due date of February 28th for the first installment. And there will be one then, of course, the second one on July 31st. Just a little bit of information for people like, well, what's the best way if you need to pay that? You can pay in person, online, or via the phone or through your bank. And you can literally, with your bank, just use the roll number starting with a 0 found on your bill, and it's just your account number. I think it's also an important time to recognize, because knowing that any time in which another bill is coming up, it's a difficult time for so many. That just want to say that there's a few also, if you're interested in looking at, we have some supports and possible programming at the city. One is our low income interest exemption and tax deferral program, and there's a policy there online to take a look at that, and to apply. You can certainly apply, fill it out with your request for an exemption or tax deferral, tax exemption, tax deferral form. Also for our senior citizens, any senior citizen in receipt of the guaranteed income supplement, the GIS, may be eligible for a 20% discount upon completing on our online a seniors discount form. And all applications for the discount must be accompanied by a confirmation from Service Canada for your receipt of GIS. And there's also a toll-free number. But in the meantime, anytime you do have a question, concern about your bill, how to pay it, what's some options here, certainly call us, contact the city. We have an incredible team to be working with you and answering all your questions at 748-1000. So just to keep that in mind. And that's all from me, Your Worship.
Well done. Thank you. And good information to have. And I said to a resident this morning, like we do collect a very large 99.9% of our taxes, but we won't see anybody ever put out. We'll always work with them either through existing discounts or through payment plans and the like. So you're right. The team in corporate services are ready and willing and have shown great flexibility over the years. So we're willing to work with people. As you say, the time of the year is not good, as many of us tend to consume more, during the Christmas holiday. But it is a new year. And one of the things that are guaranteed in life, unfortunately, is taxes. And with that, I have no further comments. I am grateful to be in attendance with all of you here today. And on motion from Councillor Locke and Councillor Antle, we are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.